All right, time for another VoteMD.info video. I'm going to talk about some gambling today. I read that the Anthony Brown proposes to fund the increased pre-K, the pre-K in the public schools with increased gambling revenue. You know, the slots are expanding all over the state now. We just opened up a new casino in Baltimore City. So he thinks somehow we're going to increase that revenue and that's going to be able to cover part of the pre-K expenses. Well, of course, the more government licensed casinos that open, they'll be competing against each other and perhaps even putting each other out of business. I mean, that's what's going on in Atlantic City now. All the new competitors in the other states are putting Atlantic City out of business. So, I mean, it's a limited market for these government licensed casinos, and I keep on mentioning the words government license because it's totally unfair and wrong, actually, that only large, giant corporations that are in with the government who offer the government basically a bribe, a percentage of their revenue, get to have casinos. Why can't a regular guy just start his own casino? If you gamble, a little gambling hall if he wanted to. No, you can't. You need a license for the government so that the government can take a piece of the pie. And for me, that's what this whole gambling issue now boils down to. I think, I don't like gambling. I think it's stupid. But if people are going to do it, I guess they're going to do it. But why limit the corporations, the people that are allowed to have a gambling company? Why do this? I think it's totally wrong. It's favoritism toward these giant corporations, and the same goes with banks. I can't open a bank. I can't open a lending institution if I wanted to. Only banks can do that because they have the money to pay for the government licenses to have a bank. And you see what that does. It's not like what the excuse they use is, well, if Adam Meister opened his own bank, he'd screw people over. Well, what have the banks been doing? These tremendous banks that the government approves of. Same thing with gambling. They're screwing people over just as bad as if I had a gambling company. I mean, 1 out of 9 people loses at the slot machines. This is they actually say it. I believe those are the numbers. It's something like that. So only they are allowed to do that. Totally wrong. But this is what we vote for. This is what we get. And talking about giving away prizes, in Los Angeles they were actually thinking about giving away prizes to people who vote. So to get more people to vote. I mean, it's sickening. And I'm sure they'll talk about that in Baltimore one day. This is what voting has become. People vote to get something. And now it'll be even more direct. I mean, if they approve such a ridiculous thing, it'll be even more direct. If you vote, you could win a prize. Gambling. It combines everything that I'm talking about here. So, no, we shouldn't have a society voting based on that. We shouldn't have a government that, controls every single industry. And that's why I encourage the use and the purchase of Bitcoin, actually. And I know this sounds a little radical. Everything I've been talking about sounds a little radical. We need people on the local level here to start talking about things that are totally different. Totally different. You don't hear this anywhere else, and we need people to do this. We really need people to talk about this. But going to Bitcoin, which is related to all these matters, actually, it's a currency that no government controls. And I know a lot of you like to waste money on crazy things, buy a $50,000 car. Well, do this. Instead of buying your $50,000 car, get a $25,000 car and invest $10,000 in Bitcoin. Oh, whoa, wait a second. Bitcoin could go to zero, couldn't it? Right now it's around $420, I think, for one Bitcoin. But guess what? If you get a car for $50,000 in a few years, it's going to be worth $10,000. So you're going to lose the money anyway. Okay? So with Bitcoin, there's an upside. Sure, the $10,000 you invest in Bitcoin could be worth zero, but also could be worth $100,000 one day. You don't know. And besides, it contributes to something good. It contributes to a new economy. So I know this this definitely sounds very much different. I think this covers everything I had to talk about here on my little piece of paper. Again, less government intervention. It wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, again, gambling's bad, but why limit it to giant corporations? And it would actually, if we had, if there were less sources of funding for the government, we'd have a smaller government. We'd have a less intrusive government and a smaller bureaucracy, and it would definitely help us all. And so, but again, I think a lot of people are going to say, oh, this is the Democrat versus Republican thing again, Adam. You must be a Republican. No. You see, you're getting caught up in that paradigm. Don't get caught up in that paradigm. Okay? Republicans would not propose any of the things that I just mentioned. Many of them enjoy large corporations getting benefits over the common man, which the current system is set up to help banks and gambling institutions, which I just discussed. So I'm a person that just wants people, individuals, to have responsibility, individuals to have more, the ability to start their own business just like that, any type of business they want. I'll talk to you later.